I'm telling you, man, if you like fire builds, you have to use DK. There's no way around it.
Hey everyone, it's Area of Effect with another out-of-the-box build, this time a Flame Templar. I love the burst on this build. You can just melt just huge areas of enemies. So much flame, so many AoEs, Grothdar, Eye of Flame, Flame Blossom, Maelstrom Blockade. It's non-stop. Look at this massacre. Of course, the teammates were doing fabulous as well. But I cannot wait to break this build down for you. It's got some similarities to the Bane build I released some time ago. It's a Dragon Knight build, but this again is much different, and I hope you guys enjoy it. Introducing the Bane Blossom build, and we're going to break down what makes this build so powerful right now. Alright guys, so the first thing that's absolutely nuts about this build and broken is the Flame Blossom Triple Proc. You'll see the line come out just once, but the tooltips of damage will proc 3 times, once every 2 seconds on the targets. The 7,000 number and the 12,000 crit number is what you're looking at there. And you'll see it moves through and procs again and again because of the burning status effect. We'll talk about that further into the video. Stat screen of the one-handed bar option with Oakensoul, 5,000 weapon damage. Look at the max health, almost 25k. Max magic is almost 32. This is going to be a 2-part video with the Oakensoul 1-bar option and then the 2-bar option with the monster set. So we're using the Inferno Staff of Elfbane. It's sharpened. We want that extra penetration. It increases the duration of your flame damage over time abilities by 5 seconds. Doesn't do anything about direct damage or anything. Now check this out. The first 5-piece set, Flame Blossom. Skip right to the 5th trait. When you deal damage, you summon a line of flame, which I'll show here again, that's going to move forward and hit all enemies in the area. I buffed it up, by the way. 9278 is the base damage. It could crit, obviously, and it will crit. But it says it applies the burning status effect. This can occur every 10 seconds. So the 9278 does not say damage over time or 9278 over 10 seconds. No, it says it's 9278. It should be direct damage, which is a white or yellow crit number above the head, as you see there. But instead, it's orange numbers at the waist, which is damage over time. It's 13,000. You see it there? It's considering it a damage over time. And somehow, and for some reason, when you equip this with Flame Blossom, the game messes up and considers the burning status effect, which ticks every 2 seconds, to be the Flame Blossom proc, and you get that triple proc effect. It shouldn't do that, but it does, as you just saw. We got a 1-piece slot available. It can be a monster set head or shoulder, or it can be a trainee piece, druid piece. You want a 1-piece bonus, but we went with the Magma Incarnate for the double recovery, and it looks great on the shoulder here, as you can tell. We got the heavy pieces of Flame Blossom on the chest, boots, and greaves. And the light pieces of Flame Blossom, I meant heavy pieces of Elfbane, and the light pieces of Flame Blossom on gloves and belt. The Oakensoul ring is infused. We got triple recovery on that. It's going to go a long way. Look at all these. You probably already know this, but look at all the buffs you get from Oakensoul. With a Templar and a Necromancer, it's really beneficial because you have no access to major sorcery. You can't cast, Crit Surge like a Sork does, or Molten Armaments like a DK does. You have to go use the Degeneration skill off of the Mage's Guild skill line, or wear Rattle Cage 5-piece set. But anyway, so I showed a second ago the Flame Blossom Restoration Staff. That's going to be part of the 2-bar setup. We'll go into that later. You got a couple of monster set options we can show later. But let's go into the skills for the 1-bar. The first skill is Force Pulse, 2791 Flame, Frost, and Shock damage. But it's going to give almost 10,000 damage to nearby enemies. And I have nearby enemies here if they're afflicted with the status effect. And these guys will be every time as part of a condition of Flame Blossom. So you see the Force Pulse bar going from the center to the left and then to the right. As I hit them, it bounced to the targets to the left and the right of the primary because they were all burning. So that's going to be really beneficial in groups. Resolving Vigor, it's our stamina heal. It's going to give us 22,000 over 5 seconds in minor resolve, minor ward, increasing our resistances by almost 3,000. which couples with major ward from the ring. Toppling charge, gotta have this. 57-67 damage, but you stun them for 3 seconds. It's a gap closer. It's going to bring you in, knock them down, and it's going to make sure for that 1 second buildup of Flame Blossom at your feet that you can get in and give them no chance to evade it very quickly when you need to. So I definitely love having this ability to stun, to gap close, to get around quicker, knock off balance, which will increase their heavy attack damage taken by 70% for like 7 seconds, and then they're immune. But that's not part of this video really. But the next skill, it's a big bursty heal, Breath of Life, over 14,000 health when it's buffed. I unbuffed there, and an ally you can heal as well. It's a big bursty heal. This in addition to the heal over time from Vigor. It's all you need. I do love Living Dark, but we have 5 slots to use here. Radiant Glory, you got almost 14,000 damage over 1.8 seconds. Of course, you know it scales up. It's a finisher up to 480% when they're below 50% health. So that's an insane damage over time. And when you cast this, since it's a Dawn's Wrath ability, you're going to give you and your allies minor sorcery, increasing your spell damage by an additional 10%. This skill is just, it's stupid. Everybody hates it because it's too powerful. But you know what? If it's used correctly, it is. If it's used incorrectly, it's not. But it is what it is. Anyway, the next skill, it's our Eye of Flame ultimate. It turns from 7 seconds into 12 seconds. Because of the Elf Bane set we are wearing, that almost doubles your ultimate's uptime there. That's insane. 8,000 damage a second, fire damage, and you can just run around and just stage. People think it's going to expire a lot of times early, and they come back in after running away, and they've got almost the next half to deal with. So very powerful. I do think, and I'll show a little example here, Flame Blossom procking. You got the Force Pulse bouncing around. You got the burning status effect. You got the Eye of Flame. Flame Blossom's going to proc again. There it is. It's going to hit all of them. Watch the triple proc effect on their bodies. It's nuts, guys. But I do think, honestly, that the 2-bar setup is a little bit better, a little more challenging, bar swapping and all, but a little bit more powerful because of Grothdar. And you know, we'll get into how and why. We'll break that whole thing down. Here's a little demonstration of the 2-bar. See, Grothdar usually lasts 5 seconds. The ball's going around me in the ground and goes down 5 seconds. But with Elfbane, it's up 10 seconds, ready to proc again at the end of 10 seconds. So you have 10 seconds to 10 seconds to 10 seconds. With the blockade that we're able to use now as well, from the Maelstrom Inferno Staff, which gives us extra damage in the blockade. And then the burning status effect they get from Flame Blossom causes the blockade to deal more damage if you look at the destruction staff passives of blockade. So we're going to break all that down. The stat screen with the Resto staff back bar, 30,000 health, 30,000 Magicka, just a little less spell damage. But we've got, you know, the resistances. Now the 7,000, this is the front bar now. The 7,000 penetration is without Power of the Light, which we are using. So you're getting 10k when you use Power of the Light. Let's break down the gear. Flame Blossom Restoration Staff, we have it defending. We have it on our Resto staff, so it turns on and off when we go to our Resto and our Destro. We like that because then we have absolute control of when we are going to proc it. It's not going to happen at random like it will with the 1-bar. And we lunge on in, and I'll get into that in a minute. But the front bar, now the Destro bar, is the Maelstrom's Perfected Inferno Staff, which I'll show you here. An additional penetration, sharpened glyph, because it's our front bar. We're going to be on this bar most of the time. And then Wall of Elements deals an additional 1250. That is not only the damage over time of Wall of Elements, but if you do the unstable one, it's also the burst direct damage of its release will deal an additional 1250. I like how it looks here too. Look at that. When you spam it, you get that AoE direct damage spammable. So anyway, I think the 2-piece setup is a little bit better, as you're able to not only wear 2 5-piece complete sets, but also a full monster set and a special 2-piece special weapon. Maelstrom. Maybe you want to use the Master's Inferno Staff. You want to use the Batishran Inferno Staff if you have that. It doesn't have to be perfected, these ones, but I definitely think it's the way to go on this build. But anyhow, Grothdar, it's supposed to have a 5-second uptime. As you see there, it every 1 second for 10 seconds and can occur every 10 seconds. So those lava swirls just keep going and going and going. Yes, it has a 10% chance, but with all the dots and everything you're doing, it's almost nonstop, as you'll see in those videos when you're in that range. So the heavy Elf Bane chest, these are pretty similar layouts on the body pieces as we had on the one bar. Heavy pauldrons, light Flame Blossom sash, light gloves. We're going to have the heavy greaves and the heavy boots. We no longer have the Oakensoul ring, so now we've got a Flame Blossom necklace. As you can tell, it's got the stam recovery glyph on there. The Elf Bane has my triple recovery that the Oakensoul had. And then Elf Bane again, max health. I didn't transmute it. You can if you want, with a Magicka recovery. So we've got a lot of recoveries on this. I got the Flame Blossom gold ring if I wanted to use it, but because of the weights that I'm going after here on the body, I've actually got the gold ring benched for the purple that's transmuted. Now the skills. Let's start with the Resto Staff bar. Reflective light. It deals upfront flame damage, a flame damage over time, which is increased by 5 seconds because of Elf Bane, reduces their movement speed for 5 seconds, but most importantly, upon activation, gives us major prophecy and savagery, increasing our crit chance that we were getting from Oakensoul and lost by taking it off. So we got to get that here. It hits 3 targets, as you see, gives them all a dot. Resolving Vigor, this is the same. Went down a little bit, 21,000 over 5 seconds. We still get that minor resolve and minor ward. Toppling Charge, we have it on this bar because we want to have it on the bar that has the Flame Blossom proc. We lunge on in and we get that, make sure that proc hits the target. The next skill, Degeneration, we have to have this now. Almost 20,000 magic damage over 24 seconds, but most importantly, we're getting our weapon and spell damage proc, Major Sorcery, for 24 seconds that we used to get with Oakensoul. The next skill, oh, by the way, you can use Puncturing Strikes if you wanted to use, Biting Jabs will give, it's a stamina costing ability, but you get that bottom, you get that weapon and spell damage for 10 seconds if you don't want to use Degeneration. It's just an option if you're not using Mage's Guild skills. Next skill, Restoring Focus. We get our Major Resolve and Major Ward. We use the Stamina Morph because we're getting more stamina per second. And if you stand in it like I'm doing now, that rune, you almost heal for 2,000 health a second. So it's a nice little healing AoE that you get. Okay, the ultimate on this bar is Temporal Guard. We have this slotted mostly for the passive, getting that reduced damage by 5% by minor protection, but also we do have it to where we can utilize this to get away. Watch this. I left the enemy, 4 seconds later, cast it, and back where I was with the same resources that I had 4 seconds ago and at the same location. It's a really good way to use that, dropping off a cliff and going back up. The Destro Staff bar, now we got Force Pulse like we did on the other one bar build. It deals triple damage. We won't break it down again. But now, look, the blockade that is used with Maelstrom's blockade is going to deal more damage because we're using the 2-piece Maelstrom weapon. So it's going to, not really listed here, but it's more damage. Burning enemies take 10% more damage from this ability. They're always going to be burning with all this flame, and definitely from Flame Blossom. So more damage there, and more damage from having the Maelstrom weapon slotted to be used with this Wall of Fire. Lasts longer. We got the unstable one. We could burst it, spam it for the AoE, basically setting off bombs. The next skill, as I buff up, is going to be Power of the Light. It reduces the enemy's resistance by giving them minor breach, but it's also going to load them up, deal physical damage up front, but load them up, and it will deal up to 200% the damage of what it's tallied, the 4285, up to 200% more based on the damage dealt while it was on them. And so it's with this skill that we're reaching the 10,000 penetration mark. The next skill, Breath of Life, 13,600, almost 14,000 health immediately. You can also heal an ally. As you see there, by the way, I've got the Power of the Light on the guy. Only one at a time. It's going to go off and he'll get damage magnified depending on how long and how much damage I did to them. Back to Breath of Life. Am I buffed up here? Yeah, almost 13,000 health for you. You can also heal an ally or two, and they get the smaller 4695 health. So between Breath of Life, Resolving Vigor, and the Restoring Focus rune, we got all the healing we need. Actually, even Radiant Glory heals. We covered this skill on the 1-bar portion, but I didn't tell you that Radiant Glory will heal you for a portion of the damage done. So when they're down in execute phase and you're dealing those bonus numbers, you get big chunks of healing. It's just a great way when you both are at low health to really come out of that fight the winner. So anyway, another little brief demonstration of rotation, everything we got going on here with the burning, with the damage over times, with the burst. I've got an ultimate I could throw here, but you got to switch to your resto stat bar to get that Flame Blossom proc. Check it out here. There it is. Now it's at the feet. It moved through. Went ahead and hit him with the crit skill as well. And it's very, very powerful. It's pretty bursty, but there's a lot of dots as well. And I love this build, guys. It's to be honest with you, it's been a pleasure putting together a flame build that has not been stuck on a DK. And I go up against DKs. Other than Fossilize, I come out on top. But let's jump into the CP distribution now. All right, starting with the blue tree, Biting Aura increases your damage done with area of effect attacks by 6%. That's pretty much everything we do. Grothdar, Flame Blossom, Maelstrom Blockade, the ultimate Thaumaturge, same thing, damage over time by 6%. That's also going to include Flame Blossom. Remember, it registers it as a damage over time. Untamed Aggression, 150 more weapon and spell damage at all times, helping us hit a bit harder. And the last skill is Arcane Supremacy, 1300 max Magicka. We wanted to get ourselves comfortably above 30k, at least I do. The red tree resistances, Boundless Vitality, 1,400 additional max health. We were at almost 30,000 on both bars, 30,000 on the resto, almost 30 on the destro. Fortified, more resistance. We had pretty good resistances on this build as well. Rejuvenation, 90 recovery across the board, all those stats, and sustained by suffering, more recovery across the board when under the effect of a negative effect. That's all the time in PvP. So that's a lot of extra recovery on this build to keep us going. And that's going to wrap up the CP distribution of this build and actually wrap up this build video. The Bane Blossom Build. If you liked this Templar build and you want to see more, head on over to my channel. I've got plenty of more content on there. Builds of all types, tanks, healers, damage dealers, and some non-build related ESO material. So I hope you like it, and leave a like, subscribe, please share with your friends, leave a comment. What would you do differently with this build? Let me know, and thanks guys for watching. Area of Effect, signing out.